Iggeres Ha'Ramban. I want to thank our generous series sponsor, Shmuel and Esther Shayowitz, in honor of their parents and children. We're incredibly grateful for their generosity. Please help yourself to coffee and to cookies as we continue the words of the Ramban in the letter to his son, but really to each and every one of us. Words that we're told if we read every week, let alone every day, will transform our lives, our relationships, our meaning, and our sense of purpose. The Ramban began, Tisnaheg Tamid, a person Tisnaheg Hitpael, transform ourselves, not casually, not occasionally, but tamid, consistently and constantly. L'daber kol dvarecha benachas, to train ourselves and condition ourselves. Always speak gently, always speak softly, always speak kindly. Uvazeh tinatzel menakat l'chol adam l'chol eis, always to everyone, even to him, even to him, even to her, even to her. B'chol eis, even then. Speak to everyone at all times, condition and train. Be incapable of raising your voice, incapable of getting excited. The strategy, the methodology to improve and to work on anger is not to focus on anger at all, but rather to train ourselves to speak gently and kindly, not only outside our home, but the place where we feel most comfortable and the people with whom we feel most comfortable, with our family themselves. Why do we want to spare ourselves from anger? Because anger is a categorically bad quality. We spoke last time, the Rambam, the Ramban, both right, that while we look for the golden mean, while we live midos, that belong a midah, a measure, everything belongs in some measure in our recipe, in our repertoire. Anger and arrogance don't belong at all. They are the kryptonite. They undermine and they absolutely sabotage whatever success, whatever happiness, whatever meaning, whatever purpose that we can have. And therefore, l'daber kol dvarecha benachas. Rav Dan Segel, the Mashgiach, in his new commentary on Iggeres Ha'Ramban says, one of the strategy, ha'etza, a suggestion, a strategy to get to a place that you could speak l'daber kol dvarecha benachas, to always speak gently and softly and kindly, to habituate and train and condition ourselves, is to be done as kol ha'adam lekavschus. That wherever you go and whatever you do, someone disappoints you, someone angers you, someone frustrates you, someone does something that is upsetting, judge them generously. Assume the best. Assume there's something going on that you don't know. And if you live in someone else's shoes, if you assume the best, if you try to challenge yourself, to employ your imagination, to come up with a circumstance that would explain why they did what they did, even if it's upsetting, then you won't get upset. Then you'll be capable even then and even in that moment, l'daber kol dvarecha benachas, to always speak gently and to always speak kindly. That's our mission. Anger doesn't belong. Anger is categorically bad. Anger is destructive. And that's what he continues, the Ramban. Uvazeti natzel menakas, you'll be spared and saved. Even that formulation is fascinating. The Ramban doesn't say don't get angry, because it's not so simple. It's not a decision that we make. If we actually could zoom out the lens, if we could have self-awareness and step out of ourselves in that moment and see how flying off the handle is unhelpful, of course we wouldn't get angry. The whole idea of anger is our brain, the animal part of our brain gets flooded. We stop thinking like a person and we hurt ourselves. So anger is not a choice. And it's not like you can make the choice, don't get angry. What do we need to do? We need to be tinatzel minakas. We have to be spared and saved from anger. How do you get spared and saved from anger? By becoming a person who never gets angry. How do you become a person who never gets angry? Become a person who never raises your voice. Speaking softly, speaking gently, speaking calmly, in all circumstances, in all places, and at all times. The other day I was waiting. I had arranged something for my car where you pay extra. The car should have been there. I did everything I was supposed to do, and I'm waiting, and it's taking time, and I feel myself getting flooded with wanting to absolutely just attack the person in charge. This is why you pay the premium. It's supposed to be here. It's supposed to save time. What's the point? Where are you? What happened? What went wrong? Don't you think there should be a discount? And then I remember I'm supposed to be teaching Iggeres Ha'Ramban right now, and to be tinatzal menakas because it's a midara. So I said softly and gently to the guy, it's not about you, it's not your fault, but isn't this why? Just when you speak more gently and more calmly, even when you're angry inside, then you're not expressing anger, you're not giving in, and you're not surrendering to anger. And anger is a midara lahachti b'nei adam, says the Ramban. It's a midara. Every other midah is a midah, belongs in some measure. It can be used positively, it can be used negatively. Stubbornness is negative. Unless you're stubbornly clinging to Torah and stubbornly clinging to a Torah way of life, then stubbornness is fantastic. Every other quality can be good or bad, but anger is always bad. Why? Because it's lahachti b'nei adam. It causes us to be chait. A chait is a missed opportunity. We forfeit relationships, we forfeit business deals, we forfeit ourselves and the best version of ourselves when we give in and we surrender to that anger. So we want to tinatzel, we want to save ourselves. And the way to save ourselves is to condition ourselves to always speak calmly. The Mashgiach writes, so anger is not just going to solve itself. And anger is not just something you can make the decision. For now on, I heard a great shmooze and I walked out and made a decision. I'm never getting angry again. That has worked for exactly no people ever in all of history. It works until the next person angers you. So the methodology and the strategy that Ramban is telling his son and all of us is, don't make a decision never to get angry again. It won't work. Instead, make the decision to always speak calmly. Don't work in the negative passively, I won't get angry. Work in the positive, in the proactive, I will learn to always speak calmly and gently, and the result of a life and a lifestyle of always speaking calmly and gently will be spared from anger. And the Mashgiach writes, a person not only do we have to work to be calm, we have to daven, particularly if a person is a predisposition to getting angry. If a person sees and suffers the negative consequences of getting angry, daven to be spared from anger, because it is a midara, it's machti. And then the Ramban continues. The Gemara says in the Daram Daf Chav Beis, Kol hakoes kol minei gehenim sholtim bo. We want to try to overcome and eliminate and spare and save ourselves from anger, because if you succumb, if you give in to anger, if you get angry, you put yourself in Gehenim. You put yourself in Gehenim. And notice that the Gemara does not say kol minei gehenim yishlatubo, that if you get angry in this world, if you get angry in this life, if you get angry now, you will pay the piper. You will go to Gehenim. H-E double hockey sticks. The Gemara doesn't say you will go yishlatubo in the future. It'll be a consequence. It'll be a punishment. What does the Gemara say? Kol hakoes, if you give in to anger in this world, kol minei gehenim sholtimbo, you are in Gehenim now. B'lashon hova, in the present tense. In the present tense. You ever see someone flying off the handle? You ever see someone indulging rage, yelling, saying all kinds of things that they can't mean and that will be irreparable and that will ever come back from? They've created their own Gehenna. They've driven away the people closest to them. They've ruined their reputation. They hurt their business dealings. A person who indulges anger puts themselves in Gehenna. Not will put themselves. It's not about the future, what will happen. It is in the present tense, Lashon Hova, Sholtimbo. They put themselves in Gehenna. We don't realize it while we're doing it. We think we're yelling at the kid who left their book bag in the middle of the floor and you just came for school and school's over and you're supposed to clean it out. And the quintessential Lego in the middle of the night and it's dark. I give this example. Someone texted me the other day. It finally happened. I said, what are you talking about? He said, I stepped on the Lego. And now I understand why you always give it as the example. If you've done it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Middle of the night, the dark room, you're not looking, and you step barefoot on a Lego, that's kol minei gehenim sholtim bo. That's rough. That sting is rough. So you want to fly off the handle, whoever left the Lego there. What do you mean you didn't pick up my dry cleaner? What do you mean dinner's not ready? What do you mean you didn't finish the report? What do you mean you didn't get the job in time? What do you mean? And then you lose it. And a person who loses it in gentle, soft, if you are determined to never lose it, to always speak softly, you can't get angry. Tinatzel min hakas. You'll be spared and saved. And you don't want to be in Gehenim. Pasuk in Koheles, remove anger from the heart and eliminate the ra'ah from the flesh. What is ra'ah? Ein ra'ah ela Gehenim. Ra'ah is Gehenim. Evil. Remove putting yourself in Gehenim. But you have to take anger out. Where does anger need to get removed from? Milibecha, from the heart. What does it get replaced with? Take the anger out of the heart and replace it with what? Continues the Ramban, the kehasher tinatzam and akas. So if you can condition and habituate yourself to always speak gently and softly, and therefore to be spared from anger, again, you didn't work on anger. You didn't make a decision to not get angry. But the result of a life of nachas is tinatzel. Passive result is you'll be spared from anger. What will fill your heart? If you're hasar milibecha, if you remove kas milibecha, now there's room in the space for what? Tala alibcha, what will go on your heart instead? Midas ha'anava. Instead of anger will come humility. Shehi mida tova mikol midas hatovas. If anger is categorically bad, if anger is destructive, if anger doesn't belong in any measure, then what is the greatest midah? Anava. Shenamar ekav anava yiras Hashem, and that's appropriate for this week's parsha, Ba'aloscha, where Moshe is described as Anav Mikol Adam. He's the greatest, most humble man of all time. I mentioned in the parsha shir, we didn't get to answer it. I posed it as a question. We'll get to it next year. Mitzvah Hashem will all be in Yerushalayim. But who transcribed the Torah? Moshe. So Hashem dictates, Moshe is the most humble man of all time. And Moshe sits and writes, Moshe is the most humble man of all time. How do you spell humble? Did I get that right? Is that humility for Moshe to actually write and transcribe Moshe is the most humble man of all time? But humility is the goal. Humility, a life of humility, that's the greatest quality. We could have admired, Hashem could have admired countless qualities of Moshe. He excelled at countless. But what in our parsha Ba'aloscha does the Torah admire? He's Anav Mikol Adam. It's his humility. Because humility is a midah tova. Humility is the king of positive qualities. It's what we're trying to do. There's no room in the heart both for anger and humility. So when you remove anger from the heart and you're spared from anger, now there's space for humility. That's where we're trying to go. That's what we can achieve if we are committed. L'daber kol dvarecha benachas l'chol adam uv'chol eis uv'zeh tinatzel min hakas. We're off next week, but Amir Tashem will continue 2 weeks from now. We should hear Besoros Tovos.